Italy. The land of pizza, pasta, and more gelato flavors than your brain can process. Millions of tourists flock here every year, elbowing for the perfect selfie in Venice, crowding the Colosseum like it's Coachella, and yes, tilting their heads at the Leaning Tower of Pisa, as if their chiropractor recommended it. But here's the truth no one tells you. The real Italy? The soul of Italy? It's not in those overstuffed hotspots. Nope. It's hiding quietly, secretly, in villages so untouched, even Italians sometimes forget they exist. These are the places where cobblestone streets still echo with centuries of footsteps, where you can hear church bells instead of camera shutters, where the pasta sauce recipe hasn't changed in 200 years because why mess with perfection? Today, I'm taking you there. 5 villages that fly so far under the tourist radar, even Google Maps asks, "You sure about this?" They're stunning. They're authentic. And trust me, they're going to make you question why you ever wasted time in a tower line at the Vatican. So buckle up, or, unbuckle if you're holding a bowl of spaghetti, because by the end of this video, you'll have 5 new destinations that might just ruin Tuscany, Florence, and Rome for you forever. Especially village number 5. Oh, that one? Yeah, Tuscany's PR department does not want you to see it. Ready? Let's go find Italy's best-kept secrets before everyone else does. Village 1, Civita di Bagnaregio, Lazio. Welcome to the dying city. And no, that's not me being dramatic, it's literally called that. Civita di Bagnaregio. Perched on a cliff, crumbling into the valley below like an overbaked lasagna on the edge of a plate. And honestly, what's more Italian than dramatic architecture teetering between beauty and disaster? Chef's kiss. Now, here's why you've probably never heard of it. Civita is basically the introvert of Italian towns. Hidden away in Lazio, it's isolated, cut off, and the only way in is by, wait for it, a pedestrian bridge. Yep, no cars, no buses, no Vespa scooters buzzing through the streets. Just your 2 legs and a steep walk that makes you question every pizza slice you've ever eaten. But once you make it across, oh man, it's like stepping back in time. Picture this. Narrow stone alleyways that twist and turn like a medieval maze, archways that look like they were designed by a slightly tipsy Roman architect, and tiny cafes where the espresso is so strong. You'll forget you're standing on what's essentially a slow-motion landslide. The highlight, though? Sunset. When the sky bleeds orange and gold across the valley and the whole place glows like it's auditioning for a Renaissance painting. And here's the kicker. The streets go quiet. Not tourist trap quiet, ghost town quiet. Like, you half expect a tumbleweed to roll past carrying a tiny Italian flag. Now imagine this. You live here. Every single time you buy groceries, you're hauling them across that bridge. Wine bottles, pasta, maybe a watermelon if you're feeling ambitious. Forget CrossFit. This is the real Italian workout. No wonder the locals are so lean. Meanwhile, I'm just out of breath describing it. So here's my question for you. Would you actually live here? Could you handle the beauty, the silence, and the daily cardio, or are you too emotionally attached to Uber Eats? Drop your answer in the comments, because I'm betting most of you would tap out the moment you realized pizza delivery requires a marathon. And if Civita is Italy's drama queen, teetering on the edge of collapse and loving the attention, our next stop? Well, that's a whole different mood. Think less, tragic opera, and more. Storybook fantasy. Houses so quirky, you'll swear hobbits started building them, then got distracted by wine. Yep, pack your imagination, because we're heading straight into a fairy tale. Village 2, Alberobello, Puglia. Alberobello, aka the only place in the world where your Airbnb looks like a smith might answer the door. Welcome to Puglia, the heel of Italy's boot, and the only region where architecture apparently took inspiration from pointy hats. Here's the deal. Alberobello is filled with trulli tiny whitewashed houses topped with conical stone roofs. They look like something between a hobbit house and a medieval ice cream cone, and they're so weirdly charming, UNESCO literally put the whole town on its World Heritage List. Translation? It's official. Alberobello is too cute to ignore. But here's why you probably haven't been here. Because everyone's too busy jamming the Amalfi Coast into their Instagram feed, or getting lost in Florence while pretending to find themselves. Meanwhile, Alberobello is just chilling down south, quietly being one of the most unique towns in Europe, with way fewer tourists stepping into your photos. Walking through these streets is wild. Every corner feels like you just fell into a Dr. Seuss book, minus the talking cats and rhymes about green eggs and ham. Instead, you've got narrow lanes lined with trulli, artisan shops selling hand-painted ceramics, and locals who casually produce olive oil so good it makes store-bought brands taste like sadness in a bottle. And yes, you can stay in one of these little houses. Imagine it. Low stone ceilings, curved walls, maybe a tiny wooden door that makes you feel like Gandalf. The whole thing screams quirky charm until you realize the Wi-Fi signal bounces off those thick stone walls like a bad game of Pong. Which leads me to ask, would you stay a night in a trullo just for the vibes, or would you be the first person in history to leave a 1-star review that just says, "No Netflix"? And the best part? This isn't just novelty architecture, it's history. These houses were built hundreds of years ago, originally designed so peasants could dismantle them quickly to dodge property taxes. Which, honestly, feels like the most Italian life hack ever invented. Forget accountants, just yeet your house back into a pile of stones when the tax man shows up. So Alberobello? Definitely a fairy tale village. But here's the twist, if this stop feels like you've walked into a fantasy novel, our next one? Oh, it's even older. Way older. Think less fairy tale castles and more prehistoric caves carved right into the cliffs. No dragons, though, just an ancient city that makes Game of Thrones look like modern real estate. Get ready, because we're about to step into Matera. Village 3, Matera, Basilicata. Matera, the city that makes Game of Thrones sets look like IKEA flat packs. No offense to IKEA, but when your city is carved straight out of rock, assemble-it-yourself furniture just doesn't compete. Tucked away in Basilicata, deep in southern Italy, Matera spent decades being overlooked. Why? Because for a long time, people literally thought living in caves was too medieval. But here's the plot twist. This place is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in all of Europe. People have been calling these caves home since the Stone Age. That's right. Matera's real estate listing reads, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and 9,000 years of history. The heart of the city is the sassy ancient cave dwellings stacked into cliffs, like nature's version of Lego bricks. Wander around and you'll see everything from houses to chapels carved straight into limestone. Churches here don't just have stained glass, they've got walls that literally are the mountain. And when you walk through those winding alleys, there's this mix of silence and echo that makes you feel like time just stopped. Which is poetic, until you realize you're lost in what's basically a prehistoric labyrinth. Oh, and Hollywood couldn't resist. Mel Gibson shot The Passion of the Christ here. Because apparently Matera is so biblical looking, you don't need special effects, you just point the camera and boom, Old Testament vibes. More recently, James Bond popped up here too. Imagine going from Jesus to 007 in the same cave. That's versatility. Walking around Matera is surreal. You duck through tiny stone arches, peek into caves that still hold old tools, and find modern cafes hidden where goats probably used to sleep. It's equal parts haunting and magical, like Airbnb if Airbnb catered to cavemen. And it makes you wonder, would you live in a cave if it had central heating and maybe a decent Wi-Fi router? Be honest. Now let's check in. So far, we've crossed collapsing bridges in Civita, chilled in smuff houses in Alberobello, and now we're exploring caves older than some religions. Which one's blowing your mind the most? Drop it in the comments. I want to know if you're Team Drama Queen, Team Fairy Tale, or Team Caveman Luxury. But don't get too comfy underground, because next, we're trading caves for clouds. Yep, we're climbing high into a hilltop town so stunning it'll make you forget Florence ever existed. Welcome to Orvieto. Village 4, Orvieto, Umbria. Orvieto, where the wine is strong, the views are endless, and the cathedral looks like it got bedazzled by Beyoncé's stylist. Seriously, this Gothic masterpiece, the Duomo di Orvieto, is covered in mosaics, sculptures, and gold so sparkly, you half expect it to start singing Single Ladies. Now, why haven't you been here? Because Rome and Florence hog the spotlight. Tourists are too busy elbowing their way to the Trevi fountain to notice Orvieto perched dramatically on a cliff like a medieval VIP lounge. Which works out perfectly because it means you get to enjoy the sweeping valley views without fighting through a sea of selfie sticks. But here's the real kicker. Orvieto isn't just pretty on the surface. Beneath the town lies a hidden world, underground tunnels, ancient cellars, and most famously, St. Patrick's Well. This thing has a double spiral staircase designed so donkeys could haul water without bumping into each other. Yes, a 16th century traffic system for donkeys. Honestly, more efficient than rush hour in most modern cities. And of course, we've got to talk about the wine. Orvieto Classico is the local specialty, a crisp white wine that pairs perfectly with sunsets over the Umbrian hills. Imagine this. You're sipping a glass, the valley glowing below you, the cathedral towering above, and you suddenly forget why people even bother with Florence. But let me ask you, would you walk down 248 stone steps into a medieval well, just for a glass of wine? Asking for a friend. A very thirsty friend. And just when you thought Italy couldn't possibly outdo itself, hold onto your wine glasses. Because our next stop is nicknamed Tuscany's younger, cooler cousin. Welcome to the Oltrepò Pavese. Village 5, Oltrepò Pavese, Lombardy. Oltrepò Pavese, the region you've never heard of but will brag about once you've been. Think Tuscany, but without influencers doing downward dog in the vineyards. This slice of Lombardy hides just south of Milan, but it's constantly overshadowed by bigger names like Lake Como or Chianti. Which means no tour buses clogging the roads, no overpriced cappuccinos, and no one photobombing your sunset shots. Visually, it's pure cinematic gold. Rolling vineyards that look like green waves, medieval villages with cobblestone streets, and castles perched on hillsides that make you feel like you've accidentally wandered onto a Renaissance film set. And then there's the food scene. Local salami so good it should probably come with a warning label, and sparkling red wines that sound weird until you taste them, and then suddenly you're Googling real estate in the area. I visited one of the family-owned wineries, and let me tell you, nothing humbles you faster than pretending to know wine notes. The winemaker is describing hints of violet and forest floor, and I'm over here swirling my glass like, tastes like grapes to me. But that's the magic. These places aren't designed for Instagram clout. They're built on tradition, passion, and the kind of hospitality that makes you feel like part of the family after your second glass. But here's the real question. Would you trade Tuscany's Insta fame for Oltrepò's authenticity? Or do you need your influencer-approved clout too much? Be honest, I won't judge much. And that, my friends, brings us full circle. From dying cities clinging to cliffs, to fairy tale mushroom houses, ancient cave kingdoms, cathedral-studded palaces, and secret vineyards, Italy's hidden gems aren't just secrets. They're straight-up showstoppers waiting for you to discover. So, which of these places just rocketed to the top of your bucket list? Drop it in the comments, and don't forget, subscribe if you want more hidden corners of the world delivered straight to you, without the tourist traps. So, let's rewind this journey real quick, rapid-fire style. Civita di Bagnoregio, the drama queen, literally crumbling into the valley, but looking fabulous while doing it. Alberobello, the Smith village that somehow made cone-shaped roofs high fashion. Matera, the cave city that makes Game of Thrones sets look like IKEA furniture. Orvieto, the clifftop diva with a cathedral so bedazzled it could headline a Beyoncé tour. And Oltrepò Pavese, the wine-soaked secret Tuscany doesn't want you to know about. 5 villages. 5 personalities. And not a single one overcrowded with selfie sticks, yet. Because here's the thing, Italy's soul isn't just in Rome, Venice, or Florence. It's alive in these hidden corners, where history whispers through alleyways, where families still make wine the way their grandparents did, and where the sunsets aren't fighting against 300 other cameras. It's raw, it's real, and it's waiting for curious wanderers like you. So, if even one of these places made it onto your bucket list, or maybe all 5, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. It's free, it helps the channel, and it guarantees you'll never run out of secret spots to explore. Oh, and if Italy stole your heart today, wait until you see Switzerland's best-kept secrets. Our last video, 10 hidden gems in Switzerland you must visit in 2025, is packed with alpine fairy tales, hidden lakes, and mountain villages you won't believe exist. Trust me, it's worth the click. Alright, fellow explorers, that's it for now. Ciao dalla dolce vita. See you in the next adventure.